Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can take down any Townhall 16 base using a Fireball Rocket Loon strategy here at Townhall 15. So here's the army composition that we are going to be using today, and of course the most important thing is going to be that Fireball on the Grand Warden, as it plays a really pivotal part in this attack and you can't do it without it. So of course make sure that Fireball is leveled up to its maximum. For the army itself, plenty of Rocket Loons, so let's jump in and we'll break it down. So the first thing we're going to be doing with this particular strategy is identifying where the clan castle is. This is because we want to try and take down the clan castle with our Fireball, because not having to worry about clan castle troops makes a huge difference in these attacks. Now typically around the clan castle there is also going to be some nice defenses you're going to be able to take down. We do carry a couple of earthquake spells. You can either use both or just one depending on which defenses you're looking to take down. Of course you can just trial and error this as you go through attacks, but the main thing we want to make sure we are doing here is getting our Grand Warden close enough to that clan castle that we're going to be able to catch him with the Fireball. We do of course have invisibility spells as well, but we'll talk about them in a little second. First things first, we're going to be setting up the start. So the Grand Warden, he is already going on that right hand side. We don't really need to worry too much about him. He has those healers and he is good. Next up, we're going to be taking down and checking for any traps around the outside of the base, looking to take down this ground based expo here, and that is because we do not want it to lock on to the next thing which is going to get deployed, and that is going to be the Flame Flinger. The Flame Flinger, another very pivotal part of this attack, looking to get maximum value from it. And if we freeze everything up right here, you guys can see we're about to throw that Grand Warden's Fireball. So we've used those invisibility spells, and if you don't know what these invisibility spells do is they make those buildings untargetable by the Grand Warden. So the closest thing to him, which is going to be the Town Hall here, is where that Fireball, should I say, is going to go. So if we go ahead and play, you guys will see we drop down the earthquake spell, we go ahead and drop down the Fireball, and look at the value we are able to get. We completely crushed through a whole heap of those defenses. Unfortunately, we didn't quite have enough firepower, excuse the pun, to take down that Town Hall itself, but we're in absolutely no rush to do anything with that Grand Warden. The healers are on him. The Rage Gem, keeping them raged up, is just going to allow him to make sure we get through that Town Hall, no problem at all. The Flame Flinger doing its job down in this bottom corner. Typically you're looking to take down roughly a quarter of the base or the quarter of the defenses with your Flame Flinger. That's typically a good amount of value you can get from it. Also keeping an eye on that Grand Warden, just in case he takes a little bit too much damage. We do have those rage spells as well. But for the next stage of our attack, it's just going to be a Sui portion, and that's going to be coming in with our King out in front and the Queen in behind. Ice Golem did a little bit of tanking there, freezing up those initial defenses, just allowing that King to get in there and start to do some work. Tidying up some of those outer defenses and buildings with a baby dragon, already starting to get some cleanup in as well. Be careful of things like monoliths and single target infernos when you do come in with your heroes, because like we saw right there, if something locks onto your king, your queen, whatever it may be, you could be under some trouble. But continuing on here, we take down a good amount of the base with that Flame Flinger. It's then going to pop and we have super minions coming out of it. One of my favourite troops in the game. I love super minions. I think they're a great use, especially coming out of a siege barracks or a flame flinger, something like that. They get that long range value, which is always going to benefit you. So the Grand Warden is taken down about a quarter of the base. The flame flinger with the clan castle troops another quarter. We have the king and the queen, followed of course following in behind that ice golem, taking down a third quarter. And then we have the Royal Champion and the Rocket Loons taking down the final bit. You guys will see we end up swagging a huge amount in that particular attack. Multiple spells, multiple troops, and we end up with a pretty strong 3-star. So this is definitely a strategy you're not going to be able to pick up overnight. It's one you're going to need to practice, but we do have a couple more examples of this in action, so stay tuned, so hopefully you can learn it a little easier. So moving through into this next one, we have a bit more of a kind of square style base, as it is looking a little bit like a football pitch or a soccer pitch for you American viewers. But again, we're going to be approaching this the exact same way. The only difference here is that clan castle is incredibly centralized. It's going to be pretty tricky to get all the way in there, so this is going to be a much longer Grand Warden walk. But for this particular attack, it's very much about patience. Sometimes because you're doing a Grand Warden walk throughout the entirety of the attack, it's not just a little bit at the start and then it lures over. You're basically doing a Grand Warden walk throughout the entire attack. It feels like it's taking a huge amount of time, but again, we're approaching it pretty much the exact same way. We're going to take down any ground expos or mortars that are close to the outside because they can outrange our flame flinger. Once they are dealt with, you can go ahead and get that flame flinger itself in. Be very careful when you do have clan castle troops coming out. You guys will see we have a pretty unfortunate witch, and in fact, I don't even know how we managed to lure this CC out right here, because the aim of the game here was to take down the clan castle with our Grand Warden, but I think actually our pet perhaps, or the balloons that went over and took down those buildings on the right hand side, ended up luring them out. Not the end of the world, because we do carry a poison spell, which of course, if you don't need it for the clan castle, which hopefully if you got a successful fireball off you wouldn't, you can go ahead and use it on the enemy heroes or even skeleton traps, something like that. But again, approaching this the exact same way. There is that fireball, and there are those earthquake spells. You'll see we do take down the clan castle, we take down the monolith as well, multiple other defenses in there too, but unfortunately because those clan castle troops had already been lured out, that was a little less effective than we typically tend to like. But regardless, we're still looking really good. The Grand Warden getting lots of value up there on that top section, raging him up just because his HP is starting to drop a little bit. Flame Flinger still going strong over on this right hand side of the base, currently dealing with some of those heavier defenses towards the core of the base. But moving on to phase 3, we have done our Grand Warden walk, we've done the fireball, we have done the Flame Flinger, and now we're going to be focusing in on our king and our queen. In partnership with some nice pieces of hero equipment, they are going to be able to take down a good chunk of the base. But what you don't want to happen is what we have happening to our barbarian king right here. He is walking outside the base, and our queen is also going the opposite direction. We wanted them to push into the base and deal with these defenses. However, sometimes things don't always go to plan, and that is why in this particular one, look at the amount of troops we still have left. We have 12 of those rocket loons left up in this particular attack. We pop that queen's ability, get those healers in there, just helping her to get through some of those final defenses. Rocket balloon's going to be coming down again, helping us to deal with some of these remaining defenses. We have the super minions as well coming out of that flame flinger. Again, like I said earlier, I think they're just an incredible choice because they get that long range value. And if you haven't noticed already, there is a certain hero we haven't even deployed. The Royal Champion is still not even down, and we have 3-starred this base. We're also swagging multiple other troops there, few spells in there, and yeah, this shows just how strong this particular strategy is. It's absolutely insane. You can always get a huge amount of value from it, and the fact that we just swagged a Royal Champion against the Townhall above us, yeah, that should tell you everything you need to know. So progressing through into that third and final example, again, we're just going to be approaching it the exact same way, trying not to lure out those clan castle troops, making sure we get them down with our Grand Warden's ability. So let's keep on progressing through. Typically in these style of attacks, I do tend to, if you're when you're scouting bases, whether that's in a clan war or in the new kind of trophy league system, you're probably going to want to click on the clan castle, see what the radius is like, see which defenses you can take down, see which defenses you're not going to be able to catch with rocket loons or regular balloons, see when your Grand Warden may be in range, and try to act accordingly. You'll see right here, we get a really nice bit of value from that fireball again, and this time we did much better in dealing with that before the clan castle troops were lured out. Flame Flinger going strong down in this bottom section of the base. Again, once it's deployed, you can pretty much just let it do its thing. Unless you get really unlucky and lure a skeleton trap or something like that, you should be pretty safe. Grand Warden, again, you can pretty much leave him to his own devices. You may have to drop down a rage spell or two, but most of the time he should be pretty safe. The most important thing here is patience, not panicking, making sure you get your timing right for your spell placement, making all those defenses invisible so your fireball goes in the correct place. We then of course have the king and queen coming on through, who themselves usually take down a good 30, 40, 50% of the base. And yeah, these heroes don't even have the strongest pieces of equipment on them. You'll see the queen, one of her pieces is actually the invisibility vial. You could definitely switch it out for something like the magic mirror, which is equally as strong. She herself actually ends up going down there without even using her ability. So sometimes things don't go to plan and you will, you know, end up with heroes dying, or you might not get the fireball going in the correct direction. But the good thing about this strategy is, because that Grand Warden typically is being kept alive throughout the majority of the attack, you've got your Royal Champion kind of as that backup wherever you may need help. The Flame Flinger itself, even once it's popped, you get those super minions coming out doing that long range damage, hopefully on defenses rather than trash buildings on the outside. We should be sitting pretty comfortably. And right here you'll see the Royal Champion is making an appearance in this particular attack, and we have those Electro Boots and the Hog Puppet coming in on her. A pretty heavy core section of the base here with that scatter shot in there as well. But it's not going to be a problem for us, because even though we have a few less troops up than maybe some of those previous attacks, the Grand Warden himself is actually going to finish this one off for us. We have the Rocket Loon flying all the way overhead, and it looks like it's going to get the final say. But this, another 3-star on the board with some swag spells in there and troops as well. Very, very powerful and well worth using against your own Town Hall, against the Town Hall above you, and honestly, this probably is effective against Town Hall 17s as well. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.